How's it going, everyone? I'm Keith. Welcome back to another episode of Legends of the Unknown. Today I got Frank here with me again, and we're going to dive into the Dogman of Michigan. So let's get started. The first sighting dates all the way back to 1887, where two lumberjacks supposedly spotted this Dogman, human body, wolf head in the woods of Michigan.
Okay.
My first thoughts of the sightings, kind of like a campfire legend, kind of scare people, campers out in the woods, and it's more of a myth to kind of put you on edge while you're camping. What are your thoughts on it?
There you go. I think the show's done.
Thanks.
Call it right there.
Okay.
But no, I agree. It's going back to what do people fear, etc. Especially if you're out in the middle of the woods, 1880s.
Yeah, 1887.
It's a long way to get to civilization.
Yep.
Etc. So yeah, I can definitely see how.
Okay. So many sightings came from wooded areas, and this is kind of where this legend has taken off. If the sightings that have been reported, they only see it around wooded areas or along the roads.
Okay.
So that would make sense of a dog man kind of living off of the wooded areas and not really venturing into towns per se. Okay. Not really sure how someone can mistake a animal body with a human head, but I guess crazier things happen. Not sure.
Medusa,
Greek
mythology. And
okay.
She had the
oh yeah.
That snake hair, but still a human head and the snake body, etc. So yeah.
So possibly that legend could take off from there.
Exactly.
There was another sighting in Paris, Michigan, and actually it wasn't a sighting. It was a guy by the name of Robert Foy. He was attacked in 1937 in Paris, Michigan, by 5 wild dogs. But he remembers seeing one dog standing on his hind legs walking away. Now, what are your thoughts of kind of being in nature and so forth? What are your thoughts on that sight or attack?
Number one, I mean, just the attack alone. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. It's terrible. And hopefully he survived.
He did.
Like many years to get stuff. But anywho, that freaked me out. I mean, seriously, see a dog just walking on his hind legs, walking away. It'd freak anybody out. Especially supernatural people who believe supernatural stuff, etc. But then again, I kind of wonder. We train our domesticated dogs to walk on their hind legs. Is there a possibility that a wolf, and that would be an odd situation where it's walking away on its hind legs, but to see a wolf either standing up on its hind legs like that, etc., I can see that's plausible.
I'm with you. I believe that this is plausible because, out in the wild, if an animal gets in a pack, it's more likely to attack you. It's more brave to come up to you and attack you.
Makes sense, yeah.
So I don't just believe what he has reported. I firmly believe that, obviously this guy did get attacked. Now, however, do you think your adrenaline kicks in and that wolf that's walking on its hind legs is burnt kind of into your brain at that point when, he's obviously in pain, injured, whatever, and that's the last thing that you see per se?
I'd say yeah, it definitely could happen. My first thought when you asked that question is about thinking about police officers, especially. It's most of us coming in contact to high adrenaline situations, etc. And themselves, what do they remember, and also the people that the police officers are defending or so forth. In those situations, what do they remember from those. So that's why police, from what I understand, has to do an interview, or don't have to, but they pretend or tend to do interviews a couple times, over the same incident, every person, just to make sure the facts are straight, etc. So
Yeah.
I can see, definitely the human brain trying to introduce that whole fight or flight
Yeah.
deal, and trying to just process.
And at that point, you bring up, fight or flight. Your body's definitely in that mode. I mean, because you don't know, you have 5 animals attacking you. You're out in the woods. You don't know if you're going to make it back to get help, possibly. So, your fight or flight senses start kicking in, and you're trying to fight for your life, essentially.
Mm-hmm. So, a quick question for you on that whole story.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to research that after. That one sounds pretty interesting. But from what I understand, the wolves, if it was like 5 wolves or so, maybe more, unless that guy was armed and shooting at him, or so I had a club with fire on the end of it, fire stick, would he be able to chase them off? Because wolves are pretty vicious, and they are relentless and tend to not stop until their prey is down.
Yeah.
So it makes me kind of wonder, and I know that's kind of nitpicking at this guy's story, but it kind of goes against the credibility of the story too.
Mm-hmm.
Was it wolves, or was it coyote?
Right. Yeah.
Coyote tend to be more shy of people,
correct,
aggressive, etc. But curious what you're thinking of.
So, my thoughts on it. I don't think it would necessarily be a coyote, just by the way he's described it. But we have coyotes around here, and you can hear them when they get in packs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he played dead. Maybe there's something missing from the story that obviously it's not being portrayed to us, to how he got away from that. But yeah, I totally agree that if if an animal or a pack of animals are attacking you, one, they're probably defending their territory, and they're not going to stop until you stop.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. For him to make it out of that situation to tell the story, that's a lucky break.
Yeah, especially going against wolves.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because they are very much just keep going until it's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like a bear, once you thinks you're dead, it kind of walk away and territory. Wolves, it's your lunch.
So, and like I said, it goes back to what what was his last memory. Obviously, this animal walking on hind legs.
Mm-hmm.
That I believe, because, like I said, that's probably going to be burnt in your brain as far as, something that's off. And you're going to be like, well, that's kind of crazy.
True, but it comes down to perspective, too. I mean, was he laying on the ground at the time as the wolves were going away? Were they going uphill?
Yeah, that's
going
true.
Away. It's all about that perspective and so forth. And his, how much at that point, how much blood had he lost, et cetera, et cetera.
Which all plays a factor too.
Exactly. So.
Okay. So, I have quite a few stories of this dog man just in Michigan. Okay. And I'm not 100% sure, but the Gable film we talked about a little bit earlier. Let me catch up here real quick. Sorry. There was a video clip of Dogman in the 1970s. It was the Gable film is what they called it.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it was in Michigan where he caught it, but it was somewhere in that area that he caught this per se Dogman on film. Okay, so now we're kind of spreading out a little bit, and the legend isn't necessarily staying in Michigan. So you're having multiple sightings in Wisconsin, you're having sightings in Michigan, you're having sightings in, I believe it's Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're having multiple in states, multiple reports in states. So I'll show you guys the footage right here. You kind of decide what you think it is. We talked about it before. I think it's too agile to be moving like a human. But that's my theory on it.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen a human, run on all fours and then turn as quick as that animal did. Now I'm not saying it's Dogman.
Yeah.
But it's something. I don't think it's a human necessarily portraying an animal.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts on it?
So, I've watched that video a couple times, and every single time, to me, it just looks like somebody either in a ghillie suit with the whole get up on it with fur on top, or just an actual wolf pelt. So just a mangy wolf pelt, but I mean, to me it looks clumsy. There's that initial run, and then it kicks out its back legs, then dart over towards the guy filming it.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just the way it turns, and so it's clumsy. It's really heavy on its front, and it almost looks like the hind legs are bent a little bit too much for that situation. And when it first starts out, I mean, you can definitely, that looks like a Caucasian dude in a ghillie suit. To be honest,
and I can't.
Because that one leg is just shining brighter than me, and I'm pretty. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And see, I didn't see that part of it. I saw more of the grainy, which maybe I need to go back and look at it again. But as far as the ears and so forth, I was picking out that stuff to see kind of where the head was laying compared to the body and the body structure. But I will tell you this. So the guy came out, the Gable film, the guy who filmed it, he later came out and said it was a hoax.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So the town people, though, said no, it's definitely real. Although that video may be a hoax, or you're saying it's a hoax, the Dogman is real.
Okay.
So, and going back to that video, a lot of people are on the fence of, is it a hoax or is it real, even though he's saying it's a hoax? Because this is going to play into the whole legend.
So people in that town are still debating whether that video is real or not,
yes,
even though he has come out.
Yes.
What's wrong with you people? Anyway.
I've actually read where reviews on the video that the guy who filmed it actually was killed. So, and there's, like I said, there's multiple videos, there's multiple storylines to that Gable film.
Okay.
And it's all perspective of who's watching it.
Yeah.
And who has, the per se information about the guy who filmed it. But the guy who supposedly filmed it came out and said it was a hoax. So,
interesting.
Putting that video kind of to the side, now if that's a hoax, although people don't believe it. There was a report of a break-in at a cabin in Michigan. Okay. And when the deputies went out to investigate it, they could not find any human tracks. It was all dog tracks. It was all paw prints. And the deputy left that scene believing it was the dog. So what are your thoughts on...
When did that take place?
I think it was early 80s.
Okay. Except trying to think like the credibility of the deputy at that time. But
it's one of the things where the timelines, again, they're multiple sightings, just like the Mothman last week. But instead of a year, it's been over 130 years of sightings.
True.
Because the last known sighting that I researched was in 2018. But going back to that, what are your thoughts of an animal being able to possibly, quote unquote, break into a cabin?
Bears do it all the time. That's why they put planks filled with nails, sitting right by their windows and in front of their door to keep the bears from. I wonder, too, was it a bear that, and this is, wild ass theory. Was it a bear that initially broke in, but then, and got its fill late, and leaves, and then dogs, wolves or coyote come back around afterwards? They walk all over the bear tracks, and hence why the deputy only sees. So, without knowing the evidence that the deputy saw inside the place.
But the scratches, I don't know if I said this, I apologize. The scratches match up with a dog-like scratch.
Okay.
So
on the door,
on the cabin, yeah.
On the cabin, too. Okay. That's just weird. But then again, is it some hoaxer breaking in some unlucky person's cabin, and it's got a wolf paw or so, and these scratches, potentially
living off the prank per se.
Exactly.
So I wanted to throw that out there because now you have law enforcement that has kind of backed up the theory or the legend of, this seems like Dogman. So around 2017, there was a guy driving down the road, or female, I'm not sure. Someone was driving down the road in a wooded area, and you remember OnStar? I don't know if that's even still around, but OnStar got a call that this guy had hit Dogman and flipped over his car. That's where the report ends. There's nothing else saying that we verified it was Dogman, but they had it on a recording from OnStar that this guy is saying that, okay, I've hit Dogman.
All right, the lack of then further evidence, documentation, etc., afterwards tells me that's just total crap. And what's this guy out in the woods, dropping a little meth, dropping a little reefer, who knows what, and trying to mess with the folks at OnStar.
So,
stupid shit.
Yeah, I've never hit an animal, knock on wood, a big animal. So, going down the road, I would think if you are going to come in contact with an animal, hit it. One, you have to be going pretty fast for it to flip over your car.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because usually if you hit it, it just spins or whatever, and it lays there. But my thing is, how are you going to call OnStar and then not go out and look at the animal?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying there's no further documentation, no further evidence. The damage to his vehicle, you need a police report. I'm sure he's not paying for the damage.
Right.
Himself,
yeah.
So he needs a police report to report an accident. Where's that? Wouldn't that be tied in?
It should be.
Yeah.
I mean, you think. And with
nothing.
And with OnStar, the way that works, I mean, they get a hold of the authorities. As soon as you hit that button, say, hey, I need help, or whatever, they get a hold of authorities. Authorities are right there within so many minutes.
Oh.
That was the whole thing of, don't quote me on that as far as OnStar, but I'm pretty sure that's the whole concept around OnStar.
Yeah.
Is if you can't get to the cell phone, wherever you hit that button, they can give you help. So that was in 2017.
Okay. Michigan again?
I believe it was Michigan.
There is
pattern.
Crazy people in Michigan.
The people from up north.
Nothing against you guys, I guess. We'll rent up Michigan.
Michigan, Ohio State, yeah. So, there's another, in 2018, there's another footage, which I'll have to show you. I didn't get to download it for you to watch it, but there's another video of Dogman by Scott Carpenter. And if you want to verify this, you can look it all up. I mean, it's on YouTube, it's on video clips, news clips. And this guy, Scott Carpenter, supposedly ran into Dogman. And now, this is going to be another episode but it's kind of going back to the Bigfoot thing, where everyone's witnessed Bigfoot in the woods, but you can't ever get a good glimpse of Bigfoot.
Just like the UFO footage, it's never clear.
But if you look at the outline that they supposedly draw, because it's a little blurry, you can see the eyes and nose, and it's upright. And you can tell by the height of the trees.
Yeah, looking at a picture here. That's
So now that you've seen that, what are your thoughts?
I mean, that's creepy as hell though, because it's in the shadows and so forth. But at the same time, from a distance, that just looks like it's dumb. Or what is he? It's He's also done Bigfoot footage.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna leave it there.
That's what I'm saying. As far as people are seeing Bigfoot. That's a whole nother episode.
Granted,
But
obviously his credibility. But here's another argument about this whole dogman thing. Werewolves have the myth of werewolves have been around for how many centuries?
right,
So forth. Especially very prevalent in France. So obviously, people bring those horror stories and stories with them, wives' tales to them when they were in the U.S. and obviously spreads there. So we're already leery. Granted, being out in the middle of the woods by yourself, yeah, it's you don't know the big predators, etc. But how many hunters are out there up in their tree stands, and why have none of them?
and that's a good point. I mean, I agree with that. But up in Michigan, because here right where my rebuttal is going to come from that footage. Could it possibly be a bear a black bear on its hind legs? I mean, is that a plausible thing? Because it looks pretty skinny. So
Yeah.
I mean, black bears aren't skinny, but
It looks skinny enough, and
so it could be sitting there on its hind legs. You catch a clip of it. I mean, there's an actual footage, a video of it walking out of where he's at, other than that picture.
okay.
So it's like I said, to watch it and then to look at it and be like, well, I kind of see where he's coming from. But it goes back to that whole Bigfoot footage. No one gets a real good glimpse of it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, granted, that's a scary picture, a scary sight, a dark figure like that in the middle of the woods running up against a tree or so forth, and with all the predators out there, you don't know what. So, I mean, I'll give him, if that was a real situation, I'll give that guy credit. Scott will give him credit for hanging tough and capturing the video.
and Michigan is full of woods, which I didn't really realize that until I did this research, but it's a heavily wooded area.
Yeah.
So there's tons of species that the game and wildlife say, that could be a plausible thing because we don't know what's still living out in this wilderness. It's so heavily
Could
wooded.
it be a sanctuary for dogman? It's a good point. One of the last surviving sanctuaries.
So now we can talk about other sightings in other states. There was a quote-unquote dog man killed, and it didn't give the state, but it was not in Michigan.
Okay.
The game warden went and retrieved it, and they were unable to identify it there by its legs, its hair, its ears, and I believe it said the way its head was structured. They could not determine what it was at that point. So they drew DNA out and sent it off to the lab, and it came back as a gray wolf. Now I'm going to put up a picture of a gray wolf and this so-called gray wolf that was killed in another state. And again, I'll let you guys determine what you guys think. But
what was it again?
Which part?
What animal was it again?
The DNA came out and said it was a gray wolf.
Wolf?
Wolf.
Gray wolf?
Gray wolf.
Wolf?
Wolf.
I'll pick it on you.
Oh, I don't know. So, gray wolf.
WOLF.
Yeah, WL.
Not
wolf.
WOOL.
No, wolf. 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 Which I guess it's dog, man. But
I've been waiting all episode to do that joke. Sorry.
you're right. So you have that picture.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on, between gray wolf and what was killed, or at the game warden picked up? Well, what do you think?
I mean, I see. Trying to put myself in the shoes of the game warden or the people who actually found that animal. So, I mean, yeah, it is indistinct from that. Absolutely. And then, I'd be a little weirded out too. Absolutely, because it's the unknown. So, what is this? But does it look, is somebody human? Dog man? No.
I mean, no.
It's
it doesn't.
two animals, so that then lends or gives credence to the rest of my theory is, you have all these malformed or disformed animals out in the wild. In fact, of the wild, and if a baby is malformed or disformed, moms will leave them, and so forth. And some of them do actually make it these ways into maturity or make it a couple of years. But they're still disfigured, disformed, etc., etc. So I definitely see that's what I see there. Just an abandoned baby gray wolf or pup, excuse me, etc. And all the werewolf, etc. It happens all the time. So, but yes, definitely very unnerving. If I was the person who just walked up on it, like, holy crap, what is this?
And to me, it would be unnerving to go out and, I'm supposed to know as a game warden, kind of what I'm walking into.
Yeah.
And for them to, so I'm sure it wasn't just, one game warden that looked at this animal. There was multiple people, and they're like, we can't determine what it is. We're going to send it out for a DNA test. So,
I mean, unless it was a bear-wolf hybrid, so that picture, you could kind of see a bear.
Yeah, I mean, it was a brown.
Yeah, just brown, but kind of shaped dog. But I'm just trying to. Sorry, my mind's.
No, you're right.
The side story, like, if that is the case, how did those two get together? A bear and a wolf, like that's not a.
Yeah, that doesn't work very well. But yeah,
it would not go well in Marty Stauffer's Wild America. How are your guys' kids?
Yeah. So, real or debunked?
All right, I'm going to break with my own personal tradition, and I'm not going to say definitively one way or the other, but I could see it being real, to be quite honest.
That actually kind of shocks me.
Because of, like we were talking, like you mentioned earlier, with all especially the north, Michigan, northern Michigan, the peninsula, etc., heavily wooded. There's tracts of land out there that are just, no man's land. You get lost. There's no cell phone coverage, etc., etc. So, yeah, in a way, I could kind of see it maybe being plausible. But at the same time, I'm still kind of leaning towards bullshit. It's just a horror story that's kind of perpetuated throughout the years. And so forth.
The evolution of that legend, it evolved over time. Because now, instead of it being a human with a dog head, there was now a animal structure that kept coming back to the more recent reports. And here's my thought on it. Because I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna say it's real. Okay, But here's where mine is a little bit different. Yes, I believe it's real because of everything that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I believe that it's a human body and animal head? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Do I believe that it could be a hybrid? Absolutely. So I believe that the Dogman myth legend is a real or it's real,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more of a hybrid animal. So that's where I'm at on it. I mean, I believe with a hybrid it would be.
But all right, so here's my the scientific me mind says there's no way that it could be, especially for that many years. The lifespan of a human is roughly 80 years. Especially back in the 1800s,
right?
Talking 60 years maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the lifespan of a dog.
There's a lot of cemeteries I've been to that they live till they're 80, 90 years old, and they're
granted, but I'm talking like the average.
Right.
Lifespan.
Yeah.
So, but 80 years versus a dog, sort of wolf,
12, 10,
15 years tops, etc. So there's that going against you. Plus, also look at the science behind just the breeding as well. How could if this dogman has a lifespan of, say, you split the difference and make it 20 years?
I'm not saying one specific. Go ahead. All right.
So yeah, let me finish this real quick, and then I think I know where you're going next. But anyways, so you, how could it perpetuate? How could the species perpetuate that long? If there aren't more of them, if there are more of them, like packs and so forth going out, then why don't we have more sightings, et cetera, et cetera? And then also you look at hybrid animals within the same. I know I'm going to butcher this, so science people don't kill me. Same species, like a horse and a donkey. Mm-hmm. You breed those, you get a
mule.
Are mules able to breed? No, mules are sterile.
Okay.
Little known fact.
All right, I didn't know that. Okay.
Same thing I'm thinking with this Dogman deal. You got a human, you got a dog, and there's some sick fucks out there. Don't be having sex with your animals. That's just absolutely wrong. But if somebody did that, and you had the possibility of, holy crap, maybe it did perpetuate, and a dog did give birth to a hybrid, a human dog eel. But that was back in the 1800s,
right? When
the first sightings in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
There's no way it's lived that long.
Well, I'm going off that route because I don't believe that there's a human with an animal head at all. I go back to the very first part of this, where I think it's just a campfire legend to scare people. Now, however, like I said, with the evolution of the legend, I believe, because look at dogs. Look how we get certain breeds.
Yeah.
It's in the dog family. It's in the canine family. So if a gray wolf, mated with a coyote or something, in the canine family, that now, maybe in the 1800s it really wasn't, around a whole lot, but now 130 years later, there's more of this species because the one person the game warden had sent out for DNA testing.
Mm-hmm.
So how many more of those are out there that, it's a gray wolf or it's indicating a gray wolf, but it doesn't have the description of a gray wolf. So,
granted,
that's my thing with the legend of it. I believe that over time, the wolf family evolved, and that's where your Dogman's coming out of.
So, what about mange? Do wolves get mange?
Sure, I believe they would.
And mange causes
hair loss.
Exactly. So these first sightings people are seeing a wolf with mange, and I don't know if a dog's skin takes on the same color as its hair, but you could definitely see where you come across a dog with mange or a wolf with mange. Wolves are big.
Yeah.
So you got large patches of just bare skin, and you see, white skin on a hairy creature, and you're like, holy crap, it's a dog man.
Yeah. But I think with animal skin, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's more like when they lose their hair, it's more of kind of like a reddish tint to the skin.
Gotcha.
So, but I mean that's my thing. Like I said,
I shave your cow. See if
I'm alright.
Okay.
No, we can't shave cow. Can't shave Kevin. So that's all we have for this week. Thanks for watching. If you guys haven't watched the first episode of The Mothman, it's a great video, great discussion of Mothman. Go ahead and check that out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you next week.